Hey everybody, the Miser here. I'm going to be re-recording a video today, one that I had done in the past that unfortunately I didn't realize until it was too late that the sound in the background was on because of course I have it muted on my computer, but the audio feed went through to my recording and kind of messed up all the talking that I was doing. So I've managed to borrow another account from somebody that is at the right place, and I'm going to re-record that. But what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to just specifically talk about ways that you can obtain generals these days, and I will split it and make a separate video on how to effectively run the tavern. So this ultimately is going to replace the one bad sound video that I have, and another one will also be recorded that will go over in the Growing Your Kingdom series that shows you how to obtain tavern generals a bit more easily. So here what we're going to be talking about is just the generals, on where to obtain generals and what kind of generals that you need to get. This is kind of going to be me just running through my general thoughts on generals. It's a lot of generals I'm saying there, but it should give you an idea of what you need. And of course, this is my thoughts, so consider what you need to do for yourself. But I will mention a few things that are absolutely essential for every player, and then the rest of it you can take it or leave it depending on what you are trying to do with your own kingdom. So first, where to obtain generals. Where to obtain the free generals is really what I'm focusing on here. And because I don't want to spend a whole lot of money in this game, and I know that a lot of you probably don't too if you're watching here. So my focus isn't on all the places to obtain generals. You can of course buy generals, you can buy packs and whatever, and if you want to do that, all the power to you. It's not something that I do. But if you want to obtain generals in a way that isn't going to break your bank, then this is the right video for you. So I have it in different colors here, and the colors are basically denoting how difficult it is to use this method to obtain generals. So the first two are in green, and the green represents that it's quite easy and very effective to get generals in this way. So the first one is to just get them from the tavern. Now, like I said, I'm going to record another video on how to effectively use the tavern, because there are some tips and tricks on how to get that done. So I definitely recommend that you do watch that video, because really most of what you need in this game in terms of generals, especially at the beginning, will come from the tavern. So definitely go over and watch that. But basically, tavern is just recruit, and you're looking in here for generals. You can refresh. You can specify whether you only want to be alerted when you refresh for epics or historic generals. Another thing is it has all the portraits, so the portraits will not only show you the picture of the general, but if you click on it, it'll give you all the details as well. Alright, so that's where you can get generals, and really, even at a low level, don't go and waste your time and buy all the purple ones or the blues, or they're just a waste of time. Don't, because it's fairly easy to get better quality ones that are going to have a bigger impact. And there's a couple exceptions to that, like Cleopatra and a few others that are good at the beginning, but generally don't spend a lot of gems and a lot of time looking for purple generals, because they're easily replaced. Okay, so that's one of the ways. The other easy method, although it is time consuming, but it's fairly easy, is to do the general fragments and great general chest. So if you click on that, you'll see that I actually have a whole video dedicated to this, so I'm just going to talk about it very briefly. But in here, you can open a chest every couple days. You can also obtain keys by doing your daily activity, getting to 145. You can get a key of conscription. Maybe I can demonstrate that to you right now. Let's see. Good time. Nice. Good timing. I didn't even know I was only 5 away. So I'm just going to finish that up so you can kind of see, and who knows, maybe I'll get real lucky here. Okay. I don't really care too much about this guy's stats. Oh, I got a thief too. Nice. Okay. I think it's 1 or 2 more. Let me just finish that. Okay. So now I should have the daily activity to get that key, so I can just demonstrate that to you. I've now obtained a key of conscription, and I can use the Great General chest, open it in extra time, even though my free to open isn't quite there yet. And, nothing great. But it is something. So there's a lot of generals that you can get out of here, and the great thing is a lot of these generals are not obtainable in the tavern, and some of them are substantial quality generals, some that you really want to get, and if you get, then that is awesome. So it's definitely something to look out for. Sometimes you can get a fragment. Well, you'll usually get fragments, and it takes 30 fragments to get an entire general. Or occasionally you can get lucky and just get the general itself. It's a very low percentage for that, but you can get it, and I've seen it happen several times. So it's probably easier to get it out of there than the Wheel of Fortune. You also get general fragments by clicking up here and claiming these every day. And if you do keep track of that, then I think they give you 30 in a row. And if you don't miss a day, that's a general. So you get 1 general every 30 days for sure out of that. Okay. Those are the greens. Those are the easy to obtain ones. And I highly encourage you to go watch the videos that are specific to that, because I do go more in depth, and you will see how to make this stuff happen, because this is the important stuff. There are other ways, though, and I have them listed in, it's supposed to be orange. It doesn't look orange to me, but that's orange and red. The orange ones are obtainable. They're definitely obtainable. You can definitely do it. I've done most of these, but it's not easy, and it's time consuming, and it does take a lot of patience and resilience and whatever else. So keep that in mind. It's not the easiest, but they are doable. So the first one is you can get generals through events. Events like the King's Path, Bountiful Worship, and Gather Troops. I can show you King's Path and Gather Troops today, but I can't show you Bountiful Worship because that is an event that happens every 4 months or so, roughly, and it goes on for an entire month. And when the next one comes around, I'll actually make a video on that. But at the end of that long 1 month process, you get a random general of hopefully good quality. One time, the first time I did it, I got this guy right here, who's my main wall general, Joseph E. Johnston. So he was awesome. And then the second time, I got some garbage. I don't even know who it was. I think it was Lincoln. And that was really disappointing. So it's hit or miss. You can get something great, or you can get complete trash. So hopefully you get luckier than I did in my second round. So the two actually that I can show you now that are doable, one more so than the other, are King's Path and Gather Troops. Now I say doable because technically you can do them, but it ain't easy. This one first, Gather Troops. If you finish the entire thing, you get all of these chests done. So that means every single one of these tabs you've completed all the way. If you can manage to get that to happen, then you will not only get a ton of these wonderful chests, but you will also get a random epic historic general. Awesome. However, I don't foresee myself ever being able to complete this, because just the sheer amount of training you have to do alone is massive. And obviously if you can manage all that training, then you're going to easily get your power done, and your training speeds should be done. But that's a lot. Like, I could complete all these, but really I would have to forsake a couple months of resource consumption, and that would probably take about 15 billion of each resource, and it would take a long time to get that done. So is it doable? Yes, it's doable. Is it easily doable? Hell no, it's not. On the other hand, King's Path you can get the epic historic general Mehmed II, and he's not horrible. He's not great. He's not horrible, but he's average. He's okay. He does have a debuff of reduction of, what is it? I don't even remember. Defense or something, but he also improves your archer attack, so he's not bad. I mean, you can use him as a wall general, you can use him as an attacker. Not the best, but all right, you can get him. The hard part of completing all of these is probably for most people going to be unstoppable, and unstoppable just means that you really need to kill a lot of boss monsters. This was very, very difficult to complete before Vikings came into the game. I did complete it before Vikings came in, and but it was not easy, and it took a lot of time. And I think very, very, very few people were actually able to complete it until Vikings came out. And now with Vikings, it's just so easy. Like, this happens passively. You don't even have to try. I hardly played this, is it week? Yeah, this week I hardly played since the reset, and just from doing Vikings and stuff, I have 182 out of 200. I didn't even try to do this. So usually, without even trying, I get to about 80. So that means if you actually do put in the effort and you actually try to get through this, then you can definitely make it happen and get yourself that general. I've completed it a bunch of times. I usually just sell them. The other hard thing to do here, possibly for some people, would be offering. So you would want to save up a bunch of the, what do you call them at the shrine? The marks or the tributes. That's what I'm looking for. Save up a bunch of tributes so that you can use them all at once, and then you can get that done. You can also, you just train level 1 troops to fulfill the training requirements. Like, you can cheese a lot of the things, so it makes it quite easy. Alright, so that's enough with the events. Other ways to obtain free generals, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This is just chance. You can get generals or you can not. But they are in here, so in my time playing this game, I have never gotten any of these two. I've seen lots of people get them, and I just shake my head wondering why I haven't gotten them yet. But, you know, I have not been as lucky as they have. And the nice thing about them is you can get a random general, which could be valuable, or it could not be. You can also get a Raged King, which is not a horrible general, especially in the early game. He's not as valuable later, but he's decent. So if you can get him, then that's great. He also fulfills a requirement for the general thing. I'll give you a quick peek at that in a second. And you can get this. I've never gotten this either. And the other one you can get is Princess Lucy, who is okay before you get Queen Jindiox, and then she's pretty useless. What I was talking about before, for the Rage King, if you do manage to pick up a Rage King, he does fulfill a part of the General's Hall right here. So if you have him and you can collect the rest, which are all available in the tavern, then you complete Tyrant. And Tyrant will give you some rewards, and the more of these general things you get complete, the more treasures and stuff open up. I don't have a whole lot because I don't spend a lot in the game, but some of these things have great bonuses that are very effective in combat. Okay, the last two I haven't read because they are ways to get generals, but they're not realistic ways for most people. Battlefield Shop, definitely realistic. The reason I have it in red is because to buy the token thing for getting a new general, you have to, I don't know how much is it, it's a lot of the tokens. And really, since there are so many other ways to obtain a general, I would recommend avoiding that unless you have already, dealt with all your dragons, they're all perfect. And even still, like, I choose not to pick those up. I would rather buy gems with my tokens. Just because it's so easy to obtain other generals these days that to waste your stuff on here rather than upgrading your dragons and getting other valuable things. it's just not wise. That's why I have it in red. It's not because it's hard to do, it's just because it's not the most recommended way to do it. The last one, this one is actually hard to do, the server versus server monarch competition. So if it is server versus server week, which is every 2 weeks, then if you come in first place in total ranking, you have the legendary historic general. So you can get that, and you can get a random legendary historic general. But you know, that's a hard thing to do for most people, and you'll probably get a crappy general anyway. That's why I will refer you back to the green stuff, where I recommend getting most of your generals from the tavern and general fragments. And those are easy ways if you are not somebody that spends money on this game. Okay, and now to the last thing. What kind of generals do you need? Here first are the essentials. You absolutely need resource gathering generals, and you want to have as many resource gathering generals as you have marches. If you have 5 marches, then you want 5 resource gathering generals, preferably Queen Jindiok, who is easily obtainable from the tavern. So that's this wonderful lady over here. Where are you? Are you in here? No, you're Korea. There we go. She is wonderful. So definitely get 5 of those if you have 5 marches, or 6 if you have 6. Other essentials, you definitely want, well, you don't have to do this. You can do skill books, but I recommend getting Baybars. Baybars is the highest double drop general that you can get in the game, and since he's a tavern general, he's very easy to obtain. He's right here. He gets you 25% double drop, as opposed to the skill book, which I believe would give you 20 for a level 4. So you save on the skill books, and really you can just pick up the Baybars, and you don't even need to slap any skill books or anything on him other than a double drop ring and join rallies. So easy way to get double drop increased on your boss and monster gathering and all that kind of stuff. Now, those are the essentials, so you absolutely need that. You also, an essential, but not a specific essential, an essential is you have to have a wall general. The wall general is really up to you. It depends on what you're trying to do in the game. You want something that you're going to leave permanently on your wall so that you can at least defend yourself a bit. With the exception of if you are primarily a resource gatherer, then it's not a big deal because you're going to get crushed anyway. Never drop your bubble. All right. But if you are participating in PvP, you're doing battlefields, that sort of thing, you need a wall general, and it has to be focused on whatever it is that you're defending with. So this one, I have this guy, and he's primarily focused on siege and ranged, but I do have him equipped to increase my ground troops as well, so he's kind of an overall. But you want to choose skill books that are going to benefit you. I would definitely recommend that you have ranged siege bonus for a wall general, regardless of whether your general is focused on siege units or not. Even if you're a ground general, I would still say get siege machine ranged, and also get the ring that increases the siege attack range. It's very important for defense. Even if you don't have super powerful siege, you definitely want that. Okay, options for wall generals. You could do something that increases ground, like Trajan. You could focus on range. You could focus on siege. The general that you select is really up to you and your preference. Just make sure that you are focusing your refines and your gear and all that to complement your choice and the kind of troops that you have. I believe I do discuss that in another video in more detail, so you can refer to that if you want more details. You definitely want to also have attacking generals that are focused on troop types. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have, for example, a ground general like Trajan. You would focus your gear, your refines. Now, like, his gear is pretty crappy. I don't even think I've refined it because I just slapped this stuff together briefly this morning. Can't even click on some of them. So the gear that I chose is to increase my ground attack, my ground defense, my ground HP. More so the attack and more so the defense for PvP than HP, but all of it is valuable. But I really focus on attack here. And he's focused entirely on ground. So when I send a ground march, it's going to be with him leading. If I send an archer march, it will be with this guy leading, because he's going to be my PvP ranged, for lack of better general at the moment. And really, that's what you want to do. You want to have them focused on these. And that way, when you have an opponent that is that has, for example, a ton of cavalry, well then send your archer general to kill off those cavalry very easily. If they have a ton of ground troops and they don't have the ranged to really block your own cavalry, then I would send a cavalry general at that and just crush the ground. So you really want to counter your units. And to counter them, you need to have a general for each of the main troop types. What else? So PvP, defensive, we've talked about, resource gathering, and double drop. The last topic, and I'm going to refer you to another video for this one, is to have generals for your subordinate cities. Your subordinate cities can have mayors, and the mayors, when you select a mayor, you want something that reduces HP, defense, or attack. For example, let me just find one. They're all the way down here. Where are they? For example, here, Andrew Jackson reduces enemy range troop attack by 20%. The rest of it is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Just the reduction. So I want to put some of these generals onto my subordinate cities. I don't worry about refining their gear. I don't worry about their skill books. I just put them on the wall. And I'm not going to talk any more about that because I have an entire video that focuses on that I recommend you watch. That's about it for obtaining generals on a budget. And if you have any questions, please leave those questions in the comments so that I can answer them. And also, I really appreciate all the people that have been subscribing and liking the videos. It does encourage me to produce more. So if you can subscribe and share, that would be very much appreciated. Thank you.